Hello, podcast world. Welcome to Balance Life Mastery, the show where we talk about all things high performance and life balance without the burnout. Stories, insights, and actionable tips on creating the life you deserve, giving you and your teams the unfair competitive advantage in work and personal life.
Hey, Jeremy, if I could tell you the one thing that would help make people find you more interesting, something that would maybe relieve a little bit of stress, something that could boost your self-esteem, and something that could help you develop more skills, would you want to know about it?
Yes. And I was half expecting my wife to run through the door then and shout, yes, as well.
Well, you're in luck because maybe she can listen too, because today we are going to talk about hobbies and why hobbies are a crucial part of self-development and living a balanced life. So let's get started.
Awesome.
So hobbies, explain what you know about hobbies.
So it's an interesting one because we ran a workshop or a kickoff recently, and one of the breakout sessions, it was like hobbies, like the importance of hobbies, and do you have them? And most people are like, no, I don't have a hobby, and some of them didn't know what a hobby was, and I think we joked about making 101 hobbies that they can try, and maybe that will be one of the challenges on the program. But I mean, a hobby can be anything almost. It's just something that you enjoy doing that basically you enjoy doing. It's something that you can spend some time on, be creative, be like structured or like totally unstructured. It's just how we pass our time when we're not working or doing tasks almost.
100%. And it's also a big part of how we develop our lives, how we enrich experiences in our lives, how we improve our skill sets, our learning, all of these things. At the end of the day, we spend, what is the stat? I'm going to make this up and say 85% of our time working, maybe even a little bit more than that, if not sleeping. And hobbies are what we do outside of life to give us some sort of enrichment in life. So, and that can be anything from reading, gardening, sports, whatever that might be. So, I mean, on my first on my list is traveling and food and probably fitness. Those are my probably, I think, top three. If I had to rank them, it would be fitness, food, and travel, I think, realistically. What are your top three?
It's interesting because like take a few steps back, and my mum always used to like we would talk around Christmas, and my birthday's in January, so she'd always like talk about the two at the same time. She goes, I don't know what to get you, like you haven't got any in, like you don't, I don't know what you like, I don't know what you do, and like that cuts a little deep when it comes from your mum. But this was me at a time when I was like fully excelling at work, and like work was the most important thing, and it was you were either working, thinking about work, or doing like utility sort of stuff for like family or yourself. So it was like the shopping, the cooking, like and everything was like very structured, and there was nothing for me really. But and yeah, and it sort of cut deep, and you suddenly realize that although like hobbies is probably one of the first things you give up when life gets busy, or you feel too guilty to have a hobby. Like, oh, I can't have a hobby, we've got kids, like, and you spend your whole time chasing around so they can do hobbies, and you're like, oh, you should do football, or you should do rugby, you should like do like drama class. You're giving them all these hobbies, and you just don't value it for yourself. But aim for me, fitness. So I used to play rugby, stopped for a while because I got too busy to play rugby, started again, bust my knee a few too many times, so like moved on to like gym and CrossFit. So like that's a big part of what I do now. And similarly, I absolutely love cooking. I always used to think cooking was a chore, but I always just start doing it without thinking, and did a barbecue course at the start of this year, and it was amazing. So now it's like, how can I have an excuse to like cook big bits of meat? Or yeah, they were like cooking desserts on a barbecue. It's like, oh, I need to do that. But yeah, no, they probably have to go hand in hand. Like if you like food, you should really like fitness as well, just to kind of keep yourself in a bit of yin and yang. But yeah, they're my two.
You
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's
But
probably like
yeah,
if you like fast cars, you probably need to like creating lots of things at home, like doing your own decorating, because like you if you want to pay for fast cars, you probably can't afford to like have a handy person come and like decorate and fix stuff. So they go together.
exactly. And I think, you know what, one of the first things that it's like you just said, one of the first things to get removed off of our kind of day to day is one of our hobbies, that we end up sacrificing our own fulfillment or outlet in order to address something else. And what a lot of people miss out on is that hobbies are the biggest stress relievers. Disconnecting from the world and doing something you enjoy for an amount of time is one of the biggest stress relievers available. So I think we need to talk about how to prioritize hobbies and how to fit hobbies into our day to make sure that we give ourselves that intentional recharge and reset time so that we can just recharge our own batteries. So do you have any tips on that?
I think community is really powerful here. So whether it's because if you say you're going to go to the gym on your own and you're going to do an exercise program, that's great. But if you commit to whether it's a sports team or going to a group fitness class, because it's so powerful that you're getting that community side as well. So you're, you know, whether it's a boot camp in a field somewhere, you're getting some human interaction. You've sort of committed you're going to do it, so you've got that little bit of accountability. And I think that structure really helps. And you know, we've talked about habits, and it's, you know, the cue, if you can make it a consistent time and a like day of the week and bits like that, I think that's really powerful. That bit of having the routine, having that group around you that you want to interact with. What about you?
100%. I think one of the biggest things for me is and probably like as we started off this this show in terms of what's the one thing that can make us more interesting to other people, is that it gives us this exposure and experience of new experiences and new challenges. And what springs to mind for me is something I could not be prouder of, is my son, because I prioritize travel, and it's always been big, like something my parents did with me. I prioritize travel with him. So even at the age of 13, we've been around the world, and his knowledge of cultures and food and countries and geography and all sorts, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And it's something that I'm super, super proud of. And I just think that it really does give not just that interest factor, but it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you that sense of deeper meaning that you're able to explore things that you find joy in. So yeah, that's my take on it.
And I think that's a really good point, because yeah, you could pick up an atlas and you could learn about the world. And I had an atlas as a kid that had like the different countries, obviously, but then it had like little facts about them. So yeah, it talk about what's the cuisine like in these different places, and you might sort of say that yeah, they're mostly a plant-based, you know, the country is mostly vegetarian, they eat a bit of fish or something like that. And to me as a British person, that may sound bland as anything, but then you go there and you suddenly realize like the spices and how they cook things is completely different. And you know, like going, yeah, I travel quite a bit with work, and just seeing these different cultures and the ways that, yeah, even go like India was an amazing eye-opening, like the cities and like the different areas of the cities and the different foods and the like the color and the noise and stuff like that. You can't watch a film and learn that. You can't, like, so your ability to interact with people when you know that what people in France are like, or what they find important. And you've got to experience these things. You can't just read about it. Same with like sports. I don't know about you, but the amount of times I look at something and go, that looks so easy, and then you go do it and it's really hard. And I think having
It's
that
humbling, isn't
experience,
it?
yeah, but because I mean, like I always think football is a great one, because football is such an easy sport to kind of grasp. And you see someone running along, kicking a ball and passing it, and then kick a ball in the top corner, and you go, I could do that. I could do that. And then you realize you can't even dribble the ball, let alone kick it in the right corner. Or and it's the same thing. It's like you can read it and think you understand it. You don't till you try these things. And yeah, it'll humble you a little bit, and but you'll take something from it, and it's all transferable as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things, and this is something I wanted to touch on, is how hobbies can actually improve our careers, especially in a 9 to 5 world, or in business, people who are business owners, or even just like in the corporate world, whatever that might be. It seems so counterintuitive to make time for something outside of work in order to get ahead at work, but it is so important in order to create that kind of balance in life where you're able to create fulfillment and continued growth, but also give more and more to your career as well. Do you have, what are your insights around that?
Absolutely. I think if nothing else, it gives you an armory of small talk, because I can't remember when they were talking about it, but with a lot of universities, especially in the US, they started talking about it. It didn't matter you were an A grade student anymore. Obviously, that foundation is important, but it's like, what else do you do? But what are your whether you were in the I'm gonna like do like a load of 90s TV references probably, but were you in the chess club? Were you in the like spelling team? Were you in the like cheerleading squad, the football team and stuff like that? Because it's those things that make a well-rounded person. So the ability to if you were in the spelling team, you have that confidence under pressure, and you can then use that whether to influence people or just explain things to people in a different way. The ability to use like metaphors from sport are as we know, very powerful, or from other areas where it's like just changing that conversation you're going to have with someone. I got really interested in sort of social media marketing and copy and stuff. This was like before deciding to start my own business, but I found it really interesting. I spent a lot of time researching it, and my work emails improved dramatically. I sent an email at the start of lockdown out to the all of the IT team under me and some other groups, and it was talking about like, no situation is 100% positive or negative. Like, here's IT's opportunity to shine. And basically I took people on this journey, and it was from learning about how to tell stories, how to take people on a journey. And I got one of the people that used to work in marketing, she responded back and said, this is possibly the best email I've ever read. And it was like, because I'd learned and I'd geeked out in these other areas that I didn't need for work, but it was broadening my horizon and mind. So yeah, you can't understand. And also, if you own a business, when you do these hobbies, you meet lots of other people, right?
Yeah.
And you only sell to people that know, like, and trust you. Similarly in work, if you've got a know, like, and trust with someone, they're more likely to promote you, they're more likely to give you the opportunities, or they'll do business with you. So having that ability to sort of build some rapport, have things in common with people, have these shared experiences is so powerful. I mean, some of the people that I go to CrossFit with, or I play rugby with, they would be prime people if I want to work with them in the future, or for them to introduce me to people, because you've got that community feel, and it's not a transactional work thing.
100%, absolutely. And you know what, one of the key things is a hobby is one of the biggest barriers to burning out at work. If when our entire routines consist of work and home and there's no other stimulation to our brain, we get bored. And by having a hobby, whatever it may be, it will help improve our focus and kind of drive while we're at work, because it takes away from that time where all you do is disconnect from work, but all you're doing is thinking about work. So it becomes this chance of kind of forced disconnect where you're able to rejoin the next day back into where you were without that resentment or that continuous stress that both of us have experienced. So I think that's also a key point to highlight.
I think that's an amazing point, and like around that focus, and this is really important when you're deciding what you want to do for your hobby. Like, your hobby should align to something that is either close to one of your values or something that you're just deeply interested in, because it doesn't have to be aligned to your values as long as it's fulfilling and interesting. But for me, I can't run, right? Because when I get on a treadmill or when I go out running, I think about work, or I think about the car insurance, or I think about all these things, and I can't do it because I can't switch off. My mind just like whirs too fast. So I loved rugby because you can't switch off. You're always focusing about whether someone's going to pass you the ball or who you're going to tackle, or like where like the strategy behind it. Similarly with like CrossFit, like, you don't think about that work email when you've got a barbell above your head, or when you're sort of like on a rowing machine or something, because you have to concentrate. And someone actually said knitting, like, it was a post on LinkedIn this morning, it was like, knitting is one of the best stress relievers, because you think you're just sat there, you're in a comfortable position, you're under no stress whatsoever, but you have to concentrate to like do this thing, and you're creating something, and that's amazing. But yeah, conversely to that, I know like my wife absolutely loves running. She loves it because it clears her mind. And I've got a couple of friends that are, so it's finding what works for you. Do you need to like clear your mind so you can let it wander, or do you need something that forces you to concentrate? So it is a bit of experimenting. What do you need from a hobby?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because I'm very similar to you. Unless I'm forced to switch off, I'm literally like so on a treadmill up there somewhere in there. Is it hollow? But yeah, so CrossFit, exactly. You have to think, you have to strategize, you have to and my buddies at the CrossFit gym always make fun of me because they're like, Dina, you're like a horse with blinkers, literally, when the go button goes. So yeah, and I get forced to not think about anything else, which is incredible. One of the unknown benefits of hobbies is that you can create an income from a hobby. And that is something I took for granted. But one of my very first side incomes when I was working a 9-to-5 job was as a fitness instructor. I went and I got qualified, and I started teaching evening and early morning classes until I completely burnt myself out because I did it the stupid way. But yeah, I mean, I was earning probably an additional 2 to 3 grand a month from a hobby, something that I loved doing. And be it now with the online industry booming, everyone's talking about how do you turn your knowledge, how do you turn your experiences into a passive income by teaching it to other people. And that is essentially it. So there is no better time to be able to create an income from a hobby. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, like, when people tell their kids off for wanting to make YouTube videos, they need to have a real think about what the way the world is going, because there's gamers that are making millions of dollars each year from recording their gaming, uploading it to YouTube, people watching it. Ryan's toys, like the kid Ryan, who they were like making these TV shows as like a hobby. I can't remember what he's worth now. It was like, I think he was doing like 25 million a year or something. And that was from like wanting to do these things together, wanting to like make these videos, and there's like never cut off your kids' creativity, but also there's always an opportunity. If you love like the knitting thing, or maybe you love carpentry and creating stuff, like the platforms like eBay and Etsy and stuff like that, where you can do something you love to do. I mean, someone made a lot of money during lockdown making wood tables to put your uni barbecue on. So like the uni pizza ovens, like I have one, so I I follow trend. But someone made these things, and yeah, they enjoyed doing it, and it maybe it's their main income or their side income. But it's like you could be creating these, selling these, and that's fueling your, whether it's the tools that you need for your hobby, or whether it's a holiday at the end of it. So yeah, absolutely. Like don't think that the hobby doesn't have benefits outside of work or on your bank balance or anything. There's so much more to it, and it might lead to a new career as well. So
absolutely, one of my very first clients, actually, she was quite high up in finance in a big logistics multinational, and she had this talent. My jaw would drop. She would create, I don't know what they're called. I've forgotten what they're called. You know, the Sullivan houses, like doll houses and things that are so intricate in detail. You have boys, not girls, so you might not have any idea what I'm talking about. But like, think of doll houses that are created. Like, you can actually turn the lights on in the rooms, and they're used as massive gifts or on display. And she'd create those. And she started on our journey together. She started actually creating them and selling them, which was awesome, because the return, should be selling them for 500-600 an item. So it's definitely something worth considering in that space.
very cool. When you asked about tips at the start, the one thing that I've kind of forgotten is probably fundamental to this, because yeah, there's a lot of people saying that's great, I don't have time, and you know, you'll probably put more time pressure on yourself than actually exists, and you kind of feel like you can't be there. But I think, yeah, if you've got a partner and kids, it's just having a very clear, open discussion about what you would like to do. So yeah, it's I would like to get fit, or I would like to start learning to barbecue, or whatever it is, and having that conversation saying, look, I need this is why I want to do it. How can we make it work? Because maybe it's like on a you're going to get up early on a Monday, but you'll be back for the school run, and then on like a Wednesday evening you want to go to a class. Can the partner put the two kids to bed, but on the Thursday you'll put the two kids to bed? And I think we sort of fear having conversations because it feels like a frivolous thing, or actually a lot of people just fear having conversations because they want to keep the status quo. But if you don't have the conversation and you do it anyway, that'll lead to arguments. If you don't do the hobby but you want to do the hobby but you don't want to talk about it, that's going to lead to resentment and burnout. And also it's just having that open, clear conversation. This is what I would like to do. This is the value that I think we'll find, and how can we make this work? And it's all about, a win-win, finally a mutual beneficial answer. It's like, do you know what? Could you take the kids? So, my wife and I, she always takes the kids to swimming on a Saturday morning, because it means I can do a bit of fitness, and then I'm doing my coaching qualification. So I kind of do that. And then on a Sunday, we alternate who takes them to karate. So I know every other week I can go to the gym, and every other week she knows she can go for a run. And just having those agreements in place, if you don't have the conversation, you're just resenting it. So it's be bold, be brave, have a chat.
Have a chat, just have a chat. And yeah, I don't think we want to get into relationship advice at this point, but But yeah, I think that's the most important thing is have a chat, find time for something that you enjoy, no matter what it is. The amount of enrichment and growth you will get from it, and the amount of opportunity that you will see from it is super, super life-changing. So yeah.
All right. So any thoughts before we go on finding that hobby, or any recommendations?
I mean, my choice is quite out there, to be honest. So I'm not going to make any recommendations on hobbies. But just think of what it is that you enjoy. I tried gardening in lockdown and I loved it. Could I do it for the next few years? No, but at the time I found it super useful in lockdown. With the amount of stress, it was just something that I never thought I'd enjoy. So try different things, see what it is that you get the most fulfillment from, be it self-esteem, be it that boost in confidence, be it exposure to other people, networking, whatever it is that is important to you. Explore a few hobbies and see what sticks, and just go with it. So that's my advice.
That's awesome. And we're an industry information driven world now. I don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money to start a hobby. I think everyone thinks that you need the expensive running shoes, or you need like all the best kit. It's like, just like do a Google search, like hobbies to try, like try a few things, look things up on YouTube, like do like a taster paddleboarding session or something, because something might just click and you go, this is amazing. Or if it doesn't, you go, oh, okay, but that was a good Saturday morning. And I think that's that, having that curiosity mindset is really nice, because like you can do so much stuff, like just go up to the woods, and like whether it's like bird spotting and things like that, and you might go, do you know what, didn't really like spotting the birds, didn't see anything, but it was really nice walking up the hills. It's like, okay, well, maybe hiking or bits like that. But you've just got to start being curious, and let it lead you a little bit, because you'll change over time. So
yeah, and let people find you more interesting.
Exactly. All right, so on that amazing bombshell, we will leave you for this week, and we'll see you on a future episode.
Take care.
Thank you very much for listening. If you like the episode, please subscribe, share it with a friend or a colleague, and leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you're using. We read them all, and it really helps us get the insights and the guidance on where to take the program forward. And also connect with us on social media. Share your journey with us for your high performing and balanced life. And lastly, remember to take the BalanceQ scorecard. The link will be in the show notes. And BalanceQ, or BQ, is your balance quotient. It's your ability to live this high performing and balanced life, both in your personal and professional career. And when you take the scorecard, you get actionable insights, you get the steps that you can take to really take yourself on this journey. So with that, we thank you very much for listening, and look forward to you listening on a future episode, and have an amazing day.